It's 7 o'clock, time for our regularly scheduled council meeting. Mike, will you call the roll, please?
Collier Wise, Erickson, Holland, Humphrey, Mines, Price, Sorensen, Ward, Mayor Powell.
Here. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 3 are minutes from February 20th regular meeting and February 20th special meeting. Second. A motion is second to approve both sets of meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Adoption of the agenda. We do have one change on the agenda. Under item 5A, we are postponing that proclamation until our next council meeting. Are the dogs outside? It's the sled? So, glad you did. Any other, John or Mike, do you know of any other changes or corrections? Okay.
Move approval of the agenda as amended. Second.
Motion to second to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Under visitors be heard, addressing the council, persons addressing the council shall use the microphone at the podium. Please raise your hand to be recognized, go to the podium and state your name and address. For items that are not on the agenda, members of the public may speak under visitors be heard on any topic not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 5 minutes and no decision will be made at this time. For agenda items, public testimony will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 5 minutes on each agenda item. Public testimony will then be closed and the topic will be given to the governing body for possible action. At this point, only city council members and staff may discuss the current agenda item unless a council member moves to allow another person to speak and there is unanimous consent from the council. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the public through the presiding officer at any time. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on any topic that's not on our agenda? Anyone on the council have an item that's not on the agenda? Seeing none, then we'll move on to public hearings. Item 6A, package off-sale malt beverage license for Main Street Pub, Inc. for Main Street Pub at 11 West Main Street. And Mike, please.
An application was received for a package off-sale malt beverage license for the Main Street Pub, Inc. for Main Street Pub at 11 West Main Street. The notice of hearing and police chief's report on the applicant are included in the packet. This package off-sale malt beverage license would be for the licensing period ending June 30th, 2018. A retail on-off sale malt beverage license was issued to this business at this location in prior years. That license expired in June 30th, 2016. Packaged off-sale malt beverage license will allow the licensee to sell malt beverage products to go. The City Council has the ability to issue a license on basically 2 criteria: suitable person and suitable location. As to suitable person, the Main Street Pub has been issued a retail on-sale liquor license at this location for a number of years. The last reissuance was here in November for the year that began January 1st. And the retail on-off sale malt beverage license at this location, the one that last expired, was issued in May of 2015. The fee for the license is $200. $100 is kept by the city. Following input from the public hearing, the City Council will be asked to consider the decision to approve or deny the package off-sale malt beverage license. If a motion is made to deny, the reason needs to be included in the motion, as if the license is denied, they cannot reapply for 1 year.
Thank you, Mike. Excuse me. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this topic? Seeing none, I'll turn it to council for deliberation.
Yeah, in this particular case, looking at it, apparently there was like 33 violations last time of minors drinking, and since then, and since that was mentioned last time, and we still accepted it, saying you got to improve the act, there's been 3 more since then. I don't think this place has control over their drinking and their ability to make sure that the people that are drinking are legal. And I think off-sale would make it even worse, because we just wouldn't be able to catch it all. Therefore, I make a motion, we deny this.
Further discussion? We have a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Before we vote, Mike read that we need to give a reason, and what would be satisfactory, but I would think that the risk is the leading establishment that also has the alcohol makes it a risky business, and that would be a good enough argument for us to approve this.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I just have a question. Does anyone know whether or not the spokesperson for this establishment is not here, perhaps because of the weather or something like that? I'm sure that, I believe we were told earlier today that they were aware that this was happening, and it's on the agenda, but could it be the weather? I don't know. I'm just
I
wondering.
know I called and left a message last week for them and give them a copy of the police chief's report. I guess if the council was wanted, you could table this for 2 weeks and we could contact and invite them to the next meeting.
On the other hand, they could have contacted us and said they didn't need it. We have a motion and a second. Are you ready to vote? Norm? No, it's just a voice vote. Certainly.
Jim, are we allowed to look at these violations is that a legal reason for us to deny this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Some of the criteria contained in cases are presence of minors is one of the criteria for determining the suitability of a location. And so this would be, and I think what Rich articulated was presence of minors was the reason behind the motion to deny, and so that would be a sufficient reason, yes.
Okay. Well, I think I will vote against issuing this license. I feel a little bit that they haven't had this license for a year, and I feel a little bit better about them. They haven't had this license for a year and a half. And I hope that, well, I hope that we can articulate somehow in this vote that we're concerned about the culture of those of us who would vote against it, would be concerned about the culture of underage drinking, and not that it's sort of sporadic, but it's continual over a long period of time.
Thank you, Steve. Further discussion? The motion is to deny, is that correct? That's correct. Don?
This is also an establishment that serves as a restaurant
Correct.
for at least part of the day, which may or may not apply to any confusion in this, but or any problems in solving the issue. But I thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item B, package off-sale malt beverage license for Maya Jane's, Inc., for Maya Jane's at 9 West Main Street. Mike, please.
This is very similar to the previous one. The business with the same, well, it's a different corporate ownership, but the primary owners are the same. Maya Jane Incorporated has applied for a package off-sale malt beverage license for Maya Jane's at 9 West Main Street. Again, the notice of hearing, police chief's report are included in the packet. This license would be for the licensing period ending June 30th, 18. They did previously have an on-off sale malt beverage that they let expire on June 30th of 2016. And the council can issue in basically two criteria: suitable person and suitable location. As to suitable person, they've been issued a retail on-sale liquor license at this location for a number of years, and were issued previously on-off sale malt beverage licenses until June 30th of 2015, or June was 15 was the last one that was issued that expired in 16. The fee is $200 for this license. $100 is retained by the city. If there's a motion following input from the city council, it would be to approve or deny the license. If the motion is made to deny, it must state the reason for the denial.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone in the audience wish to comment on this topic? Seeing none, turn it to council. Motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks, Mike. We have no old business this evening, so we'll turn to new business. Item A, a presentation of the annual library report. And Dan, please.
Thank you. Good evening. Dan Burniston, Library Director. Thank you for the time on your agenda to present the Edith B. Seagrass Vermillion Public Library's annual report. South Dakota state law requires that all legally established public libraries submit an annual report to both its governing body and the state of South Dakota State Library. A report was presented and accepted by the Library Board of Trustees on February 28th. And as the provider of the essential funding to our library, the report is also submitted to the City Council and signed by its representative. I won't go over the entire report for you now. A copy is included in your packet for your reference. Along with that is a copy of the Public Library's Data Digest for 2017, published by the South Dakota State Library. I'm just going to highlight a few items real quickly. The Data Digest, it provides an overview of library services across the state, and the data shows that every day public libraries across the state welcome over 10,000 visitors, answer over 800 questions, and circulate almost 16,000 items. South Dakota Public Libraries host over 823 program attendees and 1,772 Wi-Fi users on a daily basis, and provide access to 1,413 computer hours. Currently, 88% of South Dakotans are served by a public library, and in 2016, 3.7 million people visited South Dakota public libraries. That's more than tourists to Mount Rushmore. South Dakota Public Libraries circulated 6 million items. That's nearly 8 items per resident. Our public library currently offers access to total holdings of over 91,000 resources and had an annual attendance of over 76,500 people. In 2017, we circulated 72,752 physical items and over 7,000 electronic materials. Of these, 24,000 of them were children's materials. And including the electronic database usage, this accounts for a total collection use of over 85,000 uses. The library offered more programming than in previous years in 2017, with 977 programs attended by almost 17,500 people. Building on our strong children's programming numbers from 2016, we began offering after-school programming 7 days a week this year, in 2017. 794 children programs were attended by 15,274 children and included activities ranging from chess, cursive, origami, Minecraft, art, Lego, robotics, and a summer reading program. In 2017, we increased the number of computers available in our youth room from 2 to 8, increasing the number of public access computers available and increasing computer accessibility for all library users. The library provided access to over 35,000 public computer sessions, a 110% increase from 2016 with those new computers. And Wi-Fi usage in the library increased by 32% for a total of almost 8,500 sessions. And as in previous years, we continue to be grateful for the active support of the Friends of the Library and the Foundation Group. Funds raised by the Friends at the monthly book sale have helped support our after-school and summer reading program. Investments from the foundation have enabled us to upgrade the library's technology and make these programs and services possible. A couple of things to note: in 2017, we extended our open hours from 63 open hours a week to 73, which has been a popular addition with our patrons. We started a mobile hotspot checkout program, helping provide access to internet for those who don't have an accessible or affordable connection at home. We added several new electronic resources, including music, apps and games, and continuing education courses. And in 2017, we renewed our accreditation with the State Library at the exemplary tier, which is the top level. Data collected from the survey is also submitted to the IMLS, the Federal Institute of Museum and Library Services, and that data is used as assessments for part of their grants to state program, which funds state library agencies. The South Dakota State Library receives approximately $1 million a year in federal funding from the IMLS. This funding is used to fund programs such as the 50 electronic databases provided statewide to library patrons, interlibrary loan services, digitization and preservation of historic publications, continuing education opportunities and access to government information, support for children's services, and services for the blind. Last year, bipartisan vote reversed and restored an initial decision to cut funding to the IMLS. The federal administration has again proposed dismantling the Institute of Museum and Library Services this year. This would be a serious loss for South Dakota citizens, especially school and public libraries, impacting the number of services that could potentially be funded. And that'll be a situation we'll see how it plays out during this federal budgeting process this year. But overall, we're excited by the part we can play to make our community a better place. We're offering opportunities for community members to meet, learn, and grow together and relax together. So thank you, council members, for the opportunity to just walk you over that. And if any of you have any questions, either now or at any time, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Dan. Council, any comments or questions? Rich?
Easy question. Is this a form that you have to fill out, or is this your own form?
It's an online form, yep.
Okay,
The state library, it's a software package that the state library use, and we input all the data. It changes a little every year, but most of the format stays the same.
the reason for the funny questions is some pretty obvious typo errors.
Yeah.
in there.
That's right.
But that's okay. Thank you.
Unless there are other questions, I'd just like to thank you for this report, for the work you do in providing library services to the community. And with that, I would move to acknowledge receipt of this report on the library.
A motion, a second, to acknowledge receipt of the report. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, a presentation of the 2017 annual financial report. Mike, if you're going to start reading.
You ready?
No.
Again, similar to what the library report, there's a state statute requires the annual finance report be submitted to the city council by the first meeting in March. The report included in your packet, or if you want hard copies, I have extra hard copies if you want to look at them. We've completed the unaudited portion of this report. Williams and Company had a 3-year contract, including this year, to do the audit of the financial statements. I can kind of cut through the report kind of fast. Exhibits 1 and 2 on page 5 and 7 are the government-wide financial statements. These 2 exhibits present the city's operations as a financial report similar to business entities. In the governmental funds, we include fixed assets, long-term debt, receivables, accounts payable, bonds payable. And so, and you're looking at that one, we've got total assets and deferred outflows of resources of about $115 million for the city. Our liabilities and deferred inflows of resources are about $3.25 million, leaving us a net position for the city of about $82 million. Last year, the city's net position was just over 78 million, so we had an increase in our net position similar to your net income or net profit of about 4.5 million for the year. On Exhibit 2 on page 7 shows columns listing the expenses, charges for goods and services, operating grants, capital grants, and lists other revenues down lower, showing that our governmental activities increased a little over 2 million. Our business type activities increased just about 2.5 million. Our business types would be our electric fund, water, wastewater, liquor, joint powers, and curbside that operate like a business, and we report the operations for them. Exhibit 3 on page 8 lists the governmental funds. The major funds is any fund that has more than 10% of the city's fixed assets, liabilities, revenues, expenditures, or 5% of the equity, total assets, liabilities. The general fund is always considered a major fund. Our second penny sales tax fund would be, and the Prentice Park improvements due to the large expenditures for the pool and went on there would considered a large fund. The other 15 funds are compiled into the other governmental funds. They're reported individually in Exhibit A1 on pages 24 and 25. Exhibit 4 on page 10 lists the governmental revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance by major funds again. The general fund showed 6.1 million of revenues, 6.2 million of expenses, had transfers in of 1.1, transfers out, so it netted the year with use of funds of 744,000. Sales tax had a small decrease in funds of 33,000. The Prentice Park improvements increased just a little bit, and our other governmental funds reported a positive net change. Exhibits 5, 6, and 7 are our utilities or enterprise funds, proprietary funds, or business type funds. Our assets are reported in liabilities and equity on 5, income and expense on 6. The only funds that had a negative income after other revenues and expenses were the golf course, had a $45,000 there. That a lot of that's attributable to the weather. Also, the golf course had depreciation of $44,000, which would be a non-cash expenditure out there. You go on back to page 7, shows our cash flows for our business type ones. A couple of things to note: acquisition of capital assets. We had 4.6 million of capital assets added in our proprietary or business type assets. We retired 1.2 million in debt during 2017. We also borrowed 4.5 million. We had the electric bond for our Northeast substation, about 3.9 million. We borrowed 150,000 from the state for the landfill, for the new dozer out there, and we had the SRF loan for the Prentice lift station. We drew down 370,000 on that loan during 2017. Going on back, Exhibit 8 on page 16 shows the budget versus actual for our general fund. Our revenues were 82,000 below budget. Our expenses were 402,000 under budget. Our transfers out, probably most noticeably, were the transfer to the pool fund. There's about 450,000 of retainage on contracts on the pool contractors in the parking lot and basketball court. The pool portion being the biggest one. Them will be payable once the pool opens up next spring and gets going. Part of that retainage is to see that things get going and operate. So that funds will have to be transferred out in 2018 when we make them final payments. The other major fund on page 9 would be the second penny sales tax fund with $76,000 under revenues. Expenditures were $162,000 under budget. And again, the transfers out were under budget because that would be our second source of funds for the pool project, was the transfer out there. We also had some other engineering on projects that didn't get done. That will be coming out in 18. And then the last budget and actual on Exhibit 10 is the pool project, where we would have our transfers in are below what we had budgeted, but we'll have them final transfers coming out in 18, accumulating the rest of the money to finish that project. Exhibit 11 on page 19 shows where the city funds were as of December 31st. We've got our change funds, our checking account. We have funds in the South Dakota Public Funds Investment Trust. Probably the larger portion of them is the remaining bond proceeds for the Northeast substation. We're put in that for temporary holding until we finish that project. We also use the South Dakota Public Funds Investment Trust to hold bond proceeds for setting money aside monthly for making bond payments where they require a bond reserve. We transfer it in monthly and make the payment out of there. We've also got an electric and city hall bond reserve. First National Bank in Sioux Falls is trustee for them bonds, and they hold the required reserves for them. We've got some certificates of deposits. And then the library funds are also reported, the library fine and gift account, since the city is created by the city, appointed by the city, are included in there. And then further back lists the combining statements for our non-major funds and our internal service funds, which would be the copier, fax, postage, unemployment insurance, equipment replacement, and custodial. The copier, fax, postage showed a loss of $980,000, or unemployment $354. They're not very large. We'll continue to monitor them, see if something needs to be done there. But all in all, I think we're sitting in a very good financial position. And I'll try to answer any questions, or if something comes up, don't hesitate to give me a call or stop by.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody got a question? Any numbers?
This is, I don't know, you mentioned this is the unaudited, correct?
Yes,
Yes, and it'll be audited in May.
May, June timeframe.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to acknowledge that we've received it.
Okay. A motion, a second, to acknowledge receipt of the annual financial unaudited annual report. As a business, we did well.
Yes.
That's good. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no? Carries. Thanks, Mike. Next is agreement with Banner for additional digester improvements. Shane, there he is.
Thank you very much. At the January 15th meeting, Council entered into an agreement with Banner for the engineering of a new process boiler and a heat exchanger in the digester building. On January 26th, staff held a kickoff meeting with Banner at the wastewater treatment facility to begin the engineering work and to do a walkthrough on the facility. During that walkthrough and during those discussions, it was revealed that there's going to be a longer downtime of the digesters than what was originally planned or thought was going to be the length of it. The downtime will require the digesters to be drained. Due to the importance of the digesters and the importance of minimizing the frequency of their downtimes and the length of their downtimes, staff would recommend that the digesters be cleaned and that the internal piping on the digesters is changed out and replaced as part of the process boiler project. This will avoid future downtimes in the future. moving forward. In addition to the cleaning and the repiping of the digesters, staff would like to add an alternate bid onto the project. The alternate bid will be for the replacement of some older sludge piping that's in the basement of the digester building, as well as the sludge transfer pumps and the sludge recirculation pumps. This additional work was not part of the original engineering scope, so Banner has put together a new scope for the engineering costs for this portion of the project. The engineering agreement has been broken down into 5 phases. They have a preliminary design, a final design, a bidding, and a construction administration and construction observation phases. If approved, the additional improvements will not impact the overall schedule of the project, with the project being awarded or bids opened and awarded in May of 2018. Construction will begin in May of 2018 with final completion scheduled for December of 2018. The cover letter from Banner and Exhibit A detailing the scope of the engineering agreement was included with your guys' packets. The original engineering agreement was for $126,790. The cleaning and the internal piping replacement of the digester is estimated to add an additional the additional digester improvements will be $68,900 for the engineering costs. The cleaning and the pipe replacement of the digester is estimated to add an additional $150,000 to the construction estimate, bringing the total cost of construction to $700,000. The alternate bid is estimated to cost around $200,000. None of these additions were budgeted for, so revisions will need to be made to the budget. Administration recommends approval of the agreement with Banner to proceed with the project. With that,
Thank you,
I'll
Shane.
answer any questions.
Any questions for Shane?
This is the only digester we have, right?
Yes, there's 2 digesters, a primary and a secondary digester.
Okay, but with this one, how long can we afford to have this one down?
Well, it's looking like it'll be about a month for all the work to be done.
And we have enough dry ponds and so forth
Yep.
to support that
Yep.
until we get it back up again?
Yep.
But if there's a problem, if it's more than a month, or do we run into a problem?
Well, we should be all right. We have four sludge ponds, and usually we have 1 pond with sludge in it and 1 with dewatering, so that gives us 2 extra ponds, so. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mike, where would we get the extra?
We probably look to our wastewater fund reserves. We started this year. We'd look to the wastewater fund reserves. We started this year with about 1.4 million in wastewater, and with the project that was already projected, we were going to dip into that about 560,000, meaning we have 900,000 left. If we're going to need another 250 or 210, I guess it is, or depending on how that alternate comes out.
So we should have the money to
Yep.
to do this, okay. Comments,
So
Tom?
when we say unbudgeted, that this is unexpected, is that another way to put it?
Yeah, I suppose you could say unexpected.
As opposed to an equipment replacement fund, this
Yes.
is, we don't really know for sure. I don't know how we monitor these things, but
Well, the
how do we
digester,
know we need this?
yeah, the cleaning is coming up. We knew that cleaning the digesters would be coming up in the next couple of years, and because we're going to have them offline already, we just figured let's clean it while we have it offline rather than taking it offline again next year. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Further discussion? Motion is second to approve the agreement with Banner Associates for the additional digester improvements. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks. Shane.
Thank you, guys.
Next item is bid openings, fuel quotes. Mike, please.
Quotes were received today for our fuel items for the month of March. Bid for the first item, unleaded gasoline with 10% ethanol, stern oil, was $2.24.39. Item 2 was number 1 and number 2 diesel fuel dyed. The average cost was $2.22.39. And the third item was number 1 and number 2 diesel fuel clear. The average cost was $2.52.39. Brunick service on item 1 was $2.21. Item 2, $2.22.05. Item 3, $2.55. Brunick was low on item 1. Stern oil was low on items 2 and 3.
Thank you, Mike. Motion and second to approve the low bids. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next item is our city manager's report. John, please.
Thank you. Again, Paint South Dakota will take place this June. We're seeking a volunteer group to paint a home here in our community. The home needs to be a single-family owner-occupied house in need of paint. The owner should be physically or financially unable to paint the home. The other side of that is that we need eligible homeowners and volunteer groups to contact the city so we can apply to be one of these 25 locations across the state. An application would be due in April of this year, and we have the information here at City Hall if we have an individual or we have a group that's interested in helping this come to Vermillion. A couple reminders here. A special city council meeting on Monday, March 26th, and that will be at 5:30 p.m. This meeting will be at our Dakota Street Fire Station, and that's the fire department will present their annual report, and the council will have a chance to review their equipment. The Planning Commission does meet next Monday, March 12th at 5:30. The only item on their agenda is a conditional use permit for a townhome on Rockwell Trail. Joint Powers meeting is Thursday, March 22nd at 5:30 in Yankton. That was postponed a week due to conflict in Yankton. And then next meeting on March 19th, we started this with our gas franchise a couple years ago, and when the council approved the cable TV franchise in the fall of 2016, we incorporated this in there. So this will be the first annual report. A Midco representative or representatives will be at our next meeting on March 19th to present an annual report to the City Council. And then included with your packet was one raffle notification. American Legion Wallace Post 1, they will be selling tickets for a 50-50 drawing on April 15th. The dollar tickets will be sold during a volleyball tournament at the high school that day, and proceeds from the American Legion Post portion of the 50-50 drawing will go to help fund their 100th anniversary celebration, which will be held in Vermillion in April of 2019.
Thank you, John. Any comments or questions for our city manager? Seeing none, then we'll turn to invoices payable. Questions for Mike? A motion and a second to pay our bills. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. We will pay our bills. Under consensus agenda, we have 4 items. Item A, set a public hearing date of March 19th, 2018 for a special daily malt beverage and wine license for the Vermillion Area Farmers Market for a fundraising event on or about March 22nd, 2018 at 202 Washington Street. Item B, set a public hearing date of March 19th, 2018 for a community development block grant application to fund street and utility extensions in Roosevelt Street. Item C, set a public hearing date of March 19th, 2018 for a special daily malt beverage and wine license for the Vermillion Area Arts Council for a fundraising event on or about April 7th, 2018 at 202 Washington Street. Item D, set a public hearing date of March 19th, 2018 for a special daily malt beverage and wine license for the Vermillion Downtown Cultural Association for fundraising events on or about March 31 and April 6, 2018 at 4 West Main Street, which is the Vermillion Theater.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consensus agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Steve? Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Carries. We adjourn.